But if you can figure out what is the message that anger wants to give me, like maybe you should stick up for yourself a bit more. And that's the reason that anger comes to the surface, and you can give it your attention, and say, I don't want to be angry anymore. I don't want that because I hate it when I'm angry. But instead say, okay, anger, what is it that you want to tell me? If you can talk to that part inside of you, that you hear the message, but that you can teach a new behavior to fulfill whatever it's trying to create for you, well then you don't have to be angry anymore all the time. Because anger then knows, okay, I can also do it this way.
What's up, people? Welcome back to the Starwolfunity podcast. And today we have an amazing special guest. It is my mentor and an NLP teacher. He also was one of my teachers in an NLP course that I followed as well. And we are also organizing the event together on 10th of March.
Yep.
And his name is Danny. How's it going, Danny?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Good to be here, man. It's finally that we get to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a long time. It was, we were planning also to make it schedule a date, but it took a while. But now we're here.
Yeah, busy schedules. Yeah.
Lot to look. Can you tell the viewers a bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So my name is Danny. I am an NLP trainer indeed. I'm a coach as well. I'm a father of two wonderful boys. I have a very beautiful wife. One of my other passions besides personal development is martial arts. I really love to practice that since, what is it now? Almost 15 years or something. So that's one of my other passions as well. And I just love being involved in the personal development of people and see them, grow, see them find their inner power, their primal power, I always call it, and we'll see what's available to them and what's possible.
Yeah, you're also having your own coaching business, right? It's
true.
called Coach of NLP Limburg, right?
NLP Coaching Limburg.
Oh, NLP Coaching Limburg. Yeah.
It's
for
also
now. Oh, for now, it's gonna be.
No, it will probably stay as well. Although I want to, point my arrows a bit more specifically to some specific targets. I found that at first, when you just start as an entrepreneur, you realize that maybe you're shooting hail, so you're shooting in all directions to see if you can hit something. And of course, you get a lot of different clientele then. And that's also good, it's good for your own development and learning, but it also makes you realize that you have more in common with certain clientele and you can help them better because it's closer to you as a person. So that's where I want to aim towards right now, really finding my niche there and really want to specialize.
So, and awesome. That's exactly my strategy as well. And what led you to come in contact with NLP?
Well, that's a story that began when I was, I believe, 24 years old. I just graduated from law school, which was totally different than what I'm doing right now. But in that study, we had also that you can choose some side courses that had nothing to do with law if you wanted to. So I did. And I saw there one side course, some modules of NLP. So I was like, okay, what's that? So I started to read a little bit about it. And I saw that it had to do with personal development and with your mind, how your brain works and how you can help yourself and others by ways of your communication to influence the brain. And I thought, that's very interesting because I was always doubting between law or something with psychology. And I chose law because everyone said, of course, your environment tells you, that's better for, getting a lot of money. It's better for your profession, successful career. But then that came a little bit back to me, like, why did I ever consider psychology? It's because I want to figure out what's going on in people's minds, and how to help people in that sense. So I took some modules in NLP, And then I graduated, and actually that was in 2013, and in 2014 I just got out of a relationship. I was really bummed out, basically. I was really kind of depressed, just sitting on the edge of my bed like that relationship was over and I didn't know who I was. I always tried to do everything for other people, to please them, to help them. I put them first and then myself. I always tried to be the clown in my friend groups, and try to be the funny guy to get people to like me. And that was never who I really was, because it always felt a bit uncomfortable. And when that relationship was done, I was like, okay, so now I spent so long giving while still not realizing what I need to give myself and who I am and what my passion is in life and what I want to achieve. So then I don't believe in luck anymore, but call it coincidence, which I also don't believe in. And then I just thought of NLP again. And I was like, well, that was the first time that we started talking about what gives you passion. Yeah. So I thought maybe I should go back to that and see, if that can bring me some insight. So I then started a basic course of NLP. It's a 2-day course. And in those 2 days, I was back again in that mode of, okay, let's look at myself and who I am and, all the things we do to ourselves with our thinking and how we limit ourselves. And that I found so interesting that I decided to take the next step and went for the NLP practitioner, which you obviously have also done, and the master, same. And I realized during that trajectory that I once started to believe a story about myself, and that story has influenced my whole life. But getting that insight is valuable, but then it's the question, okay, what are you going to do with that? Yeah. Are you going to stick to that story? Are you going to stick to the story of I'm not good enough, because that was the story I told myself? Yeah. Or are you going to say, okay, that's the story I used to tell about myself. I choose now to believe something else and see what can be possible for you, see what can happen. If you don't believe that and you believe something that's empowering, like, I'm great. Yeah. I can do anything I want. So then through NLP, I learned not only to rephrase the story, but also to ingrain that new story in my brain, that I really believe that, just like I believe the sky is blue, that is a logical thing, that I'm not my past and I'm not my limited thoughts, but I'm what I choose to be. And then when I flipped the script in that sense, well, that's when things started to happen really fast. I started to go towards my goals much quicker. I started to create things around me that I thought were never possible. I started to start my own business. I met the woman of my dreams. I just became happy. You asked me the question actually once during one of our studies while you were one of the students, saying, well, can you now say for real that you're happy? Remember asking me that question? Yeah. What did I say?
Can you say wait, was it practitioner or was it?
I think it's in the practitioner, yeah. You asked me that.
I think I fondly remember, but I don't remember completely.
Yeah, well, you asked me, so can you honestly now tell me that you are happy? That's the question you asked me. And I said, well, yeah. And the funny thing was that I answered that but it's logical that I'm happy. Well, years ago, if you look back 8-9 years ago, I wouldn't have believed that was in the cards for me to be happy, that I was supposed to struggle, that I was supposed to be in service to other people without servicing myself.
Oh yeah,
now you remember.
Yeah. Just because you said these lines, what you just said, then I remember. Yeah, I was like, I remember. I just we are supposed to suffer as men. I thought I made a relation with that one. I thought as men we're supposed to struggle in order to find purpose in life. Yeah. I think it's a bit, but you don't always have to live in this survival mode, right?
No, and I've realized that it shouldn't. I don't see it as struggle anymore. I enjoy the pain,
the process.
If you can say it. Yeah, the process, but also the pain that comes with it. you have doubts, you have insecurities, you have stress, you have physical pain if you work out or you have an injury. And I've learned to just enjoy it and embrace it. And I saw that video of this, I don't know what's the guy called, but he literally says, embrace the pain. Enjoy the pain. Embrace it. I think it's Eckhart Tolle, actually.
Eckhart Tolle.
And I'm not sure.
Yeah, I saw that video, but I don't know.
Right?
Yeah.
And well, that's a reality for me. And not only embrace it, I expect it and I love it. Because if I wouldn't be in pain, it would mean that I'm living a very comfortable life.
Yeah.
I'm not about that comfortable life.
No.
I want to live a life that's worth living. That's
Literally.
more important to me.
And as humans, we need some kind of difficulty to overcome. Kind of like it's like you have to have some type of purpose in order to have a fulfilling life. I heard this many times. This from many podcasters as well, and also self-improvement YouTubers as well. Yeah. Some of them can go very south, let's say, but most of them they say as humans we need have to have like some sort of a purpose in order to strive towards to be content or happy. If we stuck in our comfort zone, we will become miserable after a while. But that's why like you have to have some type of purpose to follow towards.
That's what I believe as well for me. But of course there are people who live in that comfort zone who never peek over the fence. And they're perfectly happy as well, and that's okay. I'm not saying everyone should do this, but this works for me, and this works for people who have the thought that pops up even once that says, well, there has to be more than this. And then you get to ask the real questions of what is that more than this, and how do I get there? And that's when you start to create purpose. And of course, with that purpose comes that pain. But that's part of it. That's only if you experience that type of pain, you know that you are progressing. Otherwise, you stay, as you say, in that comfort zone.
Yeah, but I think like it's in my personal experiences and also with other people, that when you stay in that comfort zone for too long, your whole body reacts to it. Or maybe just because we are men, but I also heard many stories that also with women, you start to self-sabotage, because you don't have a purpose no more. It's like, why am I living? For example, the rich kid, he already has everything what he wants. So he self-sabotage his whole, let's say life in order to find the purpose because...
end up in drugs or something.
Literally. That's what I realized. So I don't know if it's like mainly everybody should have a like kind of a life purpose or at least some direction where they're going, or is working on their body, or just simple things like maybe, I don't know, keeping the house clean or whatever,
It can be something as that as well. And it's funny that you mentioned self-sabotage, because indeed people do it by finding drugs or alcohol or party a lot to distract themselves from the fact that they have nothing going on. But also what another tactic of them is that they are going to find reasons that they shouldn't go for it. Reasons like, but I'm not good at that, or I don't know how to start something like it. The only way to start something is to start.
Just to start,
and if you do it right, probably that's not going to be the case in the beginning. And maybe you will never get it 100% right, but perfection is stupid. It's an illusion. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to do it perfect, but the person who does will get closer to perfection than the person who keeps on thinking, what's the perfect way? And, makes all these lists and makes all these things that need to happen before they can start something. People that do 100 studies and 100 NLP courses before they start to coach others, or before they start to use it in practice and go and do something that they're scared of. Because they think, but I first need to have more knowledge. That's bullshit. You will get the most knowledge when you start doing it.
I experienced exact the same thing with my podcast as well. The first podcast I ever recorded with one of my friends, we look up, it was like 1 year ago. Now we look back and we sometimes cringe so bad. Like,
but
look at that video. But I am, he's cringing. I also cringed a little bit, to be honest.
That's all right,
But if I look back, I'm like, look where we started and look where we are now. Every time when I show him that video, I say, look, the guy's name, look, man, how far did we come? Look at how we started.
Yeah.
He says like, I don't recognize myself. Exactly.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have figured it out, and you wouldn't have grown if you didn't just start. You know, and the start might be bumpy, it might be shit. You might, look back years from now and say, I need to delete those episodes or whatever. But without that start, you wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So you need that. You need that, and that's also part of that pain that you need to embrace. The cringe you need to embrace.
Yeah. It hurts, man. Sometimes if I watch those videos, it's like, Oh man.
Yeah.
But that's the part of the journey. In order to achieve, like, let's say, come close to where your dreams are, you have to start somewhere.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. But you have to start.
You have to start.
You have to start. Yeah.
And what has NLP helped you in your career-wise, and also, let's say, also relationship-wise?
Yeah.
Because that's what mostly I see young adults who are really struggling with. They are also with relationship sector and also career-wise.
Yeah. Well, let's start with career then. For career-wise, it has shown me what I found important in a career. Actually, also in a relationship, but let's start with career. What I find important to do, and where I found more what my purpose is and who I am as a person. So basically the answer to the question, why are you put on this earth? What have you to bring to the society, to humanity, basically? And if you know what that it is, and you reflect on your current life, then you can check, is it in line with what that purpose is? And if not, or you cannot find something that, how do I say it? That
correlates.
Yeah, correlates. I was looking for that. Well, never mind. At least something that is in line with what you're doing now, that you can link to your purpose. If you cannot find a link between those two, then you know that you're not doing the right thing. And of course, that's easy to say, and people might now think, looking and listening to this podcast, but you can't all find your purpose and do whatever you want. Well, that's not true, I believe. Because I was at a point last year, and you know this, I had a steady job. I had a contract. I had a parking space there. I had every comfort of it, of a steady job. I also, had wonderful colleagues. I could, I like all of them. I still see a lot of them. I still see them as friends, and we go out and still. But what I also realized is the work itself is not fulfilling my purpose. And then I was thinking, okay, maybe I should quit then. But everything in my rational thinking said, no, what the hell are you doing? Don't quit. That's not safe. You give up your steady, safe job with a good paycheck, because it was very decent, to follow your purpose, and you don't know if that's gonna work out for you. So why the hell would you do this? But my heart, my feeling, everything else said, but it scares me, so I should do it, because I think that's gonna give purpose to my life. And the funny thing is, my wife is an entrepreneur for many years, has a successful business, a beauty salon. And I was like, okay, I need to talk to my wife about this, because it means that we're going to become two entrepreneurs with one kid already we had at that time. And the second one was coming. Actually, end of March last year, my second son was born, and I quit my job 1st of March. So I was like, is this a smart idea? I don't know, but I just had faith. Okay, it's going to work out fine. Because you're going to find your purpose and you're going to work towards it. Of course, I need to tell you as well that I was already working towards it for half a year, and I was already coaching people left and right, but I couldn't say that it was, enough to support a family of 4 yet. So it was still a jump into nothingness, into unsecure, into, I don't know if this is going to work out. But the funny thing is, and I don't know if people believe in, the law of attraction or whatever, but I do believe that if you, wholeheartedly make a jump towards something, that something will feel that you're being serious and it will come to you. You know, you attract it then in a sense. So what happened, I quit my job, and about a couple of weeks later, I got a very nice assignment at the place where I learned NLP. So the place that showed me my passion wanted to help me to follow it, and to follow it in a way that I could teach other people there to learn NLP. And I was like, yeah, this is everything I always wanted. How the hell did it come on my path now that I burnt that other bridge? Yeah. And that was, you know, career-wise, a very good move for me. Of course, it's uncertain times, you know. It's an assignment, so it's not a contract forever. But still, I'm happy that I made the choice, because now I'm doing what I love. And still make a decent amount of money, actually more than I did before. But that's not the main thing. Of course, it helps because I need to support a family as well. Let's be honest. Yeah. But on the other hand, I also get to do what I love now, and it gives me freedom. It gives me, you know, passion. I will be a better example for my boys than a dad who stays in a stable job just for the security of it. Yeah, you know, and that was also my biggest last push that I needed. Like, what's the example you want to show to your boys? And when I was like, okay, it's a guy who dares to follow his passion, then I made the plunge. Relationship wise, it was more in line with letting go of past beliefs, because I had the belief that I wasn't good enough. I had the belief that I needed to, that I was here put on earth to serve others and make them better without doing anything for myself. I still do that service, but it's not from a feeling of, because I'm not worth it, I need to build up you. Yeah. No, I am worth it, and I can help the way that I build myself up. I can show you that, and maybe help you in the process as well. It's a very different way of thinking. Yeah. And because I switched to that different way of thinking, I didn't believe anymore that I wasn't worth it and that I was worth less. But I was like, okay, no, I am complete. I am good enough. I'm more than good enough, actually. And because I am complete, I can attract someone who also is complete, and we can grow in our completeness. Yeah. Instead of, you know, you need the other one to make you complete, because that's how I used to be in relationships. Yeah. I needed to have a partner, because otherwise I was not complete. I was nothing. Yeah. But now it's like, okay, I don't need a partner, but I would love someone who also feels that they are complete to share that with. So we can build something together. And when I truly believe that about myself, and I literally start to think, okay, what do I want for in a partner? I started to write it down. I had 20 things. 20 things on a list. Oh, yeah. You know, remember I told you this? Yeah. 20 things on a list, like, I want my partner to have dark hair. Even like the smallest stupid things like that. Dark hair. Okay. She needs to be able to stand up for herself. When I can be quite outspoken nowadays. Not 10 years ago, but the last 5 years, definitely. I have a strong opinion, so I need someone who can give me some pushback there. So that is what I wanted in a partner. I also wanted her to, you know, take care of herself, to be slim. And, you know, people can say, yeah, but that's fat shaming. No, it's not something for me. I want someone who has this and this figure. Yeah. So I wrote that down. Yeah. And of course you can say, yeah, maybe that's shallow if you want that, but that's what I wanted, and I wasn't willing anymore to settle for anything else, because I had that other stuff already. Yeah. And I knew that that's not what I wanted. So why would I ask for it then? You know? So I wrote everything down. I was in some other relationships in between where I saw stuff didn't work out, so I tweaked the list a bit in the sense that, okay, maybe I find it more important that they do this, and maybe something else was less important. They didn't have to have dark, straight hair, but it could also be a bit wavy. Yeah. You know, some stupid stuff like that I adjusted then. Because that's actually also nice. And then when I, you know, went to a couple of, I don't want to, you know, not for those partners, but to have test relationships. And I found out what else I wanted to tweak on that list. At that point, I just let go of it, and I was like, okay, whatever comes my way, and I'll check if that person, you know, fulfills my list, and then I'll make the next step. And that's how I met my current wife.
Crazy.
So I met her, and actually it was funny when we moved from my apartment to our house. When we bought a house, I was cleaning my stuff out, some stuff you throw away. I found the list. And I said, you know what this is? He said, no, I never showed her the list. He said, this is the list with things I would love to have in a partner, which I wrote before I met you. She said, let me look. And she, fulfilled 17 of the 20 things on that list. So, of course, 20, you can say, yeah, but she's not 20 out of 20. Yeah. But, nobody is 20 out of 20 because nobody's perfect, But still, 17 out of 20, it's a pretty good score.
Go ahead.
So that, because I knew what I wanted, I knew I wasn't going to settle for anything less anymore, because I had a very different belief about who I am as a person. That's how I, found the relationship I was looking for. I wasn't willing to compromise anymore.
Yeah. But NLP helped you in realizing the patterns and also realizing that that is possible, right? Like the taking the limiting beliefs out that is not possible, or you should end up with how your parents did or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, indeed, because some limiting beliefs, actually most of them come from your past. Yeah. And they're not yours. They're thrown upon you by other people. And they can be very limiting in the sense that you get the feeling that you're not worth it because of those past things that happened. And if you take that and you accept it as a reality, you will have a certain life that fits to that reality. But if you let go of that and you start to create your own reality, your life will go towards your new own reality. And that's how you can create the life you want.
Yeah. Awesome. That's exactly like what I realized lately. But it sounds, I'm still at that point, I'm still young. But as you saw, as I showed you, I did created my, let's say, I don't know really specifically if it's come from NLP for me. It's I also watch many YouTube videos where you learn manifestation and law of attraction and that sort of things. I also created my ideal girlfriend, let's say. Yeah. Now I am in the phase like, okay, look, I am putting it down somewhere or putting it on the wall, and then see if that strategy works. So we will look back at these videos.
Yeah, definitely.
And then look, it works. Yeah. We were talking about Danny, and it worked.
Yeah.
Oh man. But nee, that's awesome. And also, there was one subject where I really have found impact in my life as well, and that subject we are also doing in our event. Yeah. And it's in Dutch it's called Dear Persoonlijkheden. Yeah. And I think the translation is subpersonalities. Yeah. Can you tell us a bit about what that is?
Yeah, definitely. So subpersonalities is actually very recognizable for everyone, because sometimes you want to do something and you're having doubts. Yeah. So something inside you says, well, is that a good choice, or should we do that right now? Yeah. And sometimes it feels like you have this inner conflict, and that inner conflict you can also translate to that being like the angel and devil on your shoulder, or your two personalities inside you that are in conflict with each other. And subpersonalities is about that part. So what are all those parts in you, all those personalities inside of you that make you do certain things while you actually want to create something else? Like one of the subpersonalities that everyone has is the inner child. And the inner child wants safety, because as a kid you want safety from your parents. You want them to protect you. You want to be carefree, as a child is, in the right circumstances. And that's a personality that everyone recognizes, that moment that that you're not sure if you should do something, but something inside you gets so excited, you're like, I'm just gonna do it, and you just do it. That's your inner child, that inner child that just is carefree and just wants to go for something. Then you also, a personality that a lot of people recognize is the concerned parent. Even if you're not a parent yet, the concerns of your parents could have created a concerned parent inside of you. I need to cough for a minute.
No problem.
Good.
It's like this movie Inside Out, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and for people who have seen that movie or who not seen that movie, I don't know if it's on Netflix still, but have a look,
Yeah, it's
because there you see indeed 5 emotions that are on the control panel.
Yeah.
You know, you have anger, I believe, you have sadness, joy,
disgust,
uh,
and fear.
yeah, and fear.
Oh yeah.
And those are things you all recognize, you know. We all have that inside of us, but who's on the controls at one moment? If you have too much the anger personality inside of you who takes the control, it's gonna steer your life in that direction of anger, and you're going to get angry a lot, you know. But if you can figure out what is the message that anger wants to give me, like maybe you should stick up for yourself a bit more. And that's the reason that anger comes to the surface, and you can give it your attention, like, and say, don't want to be angry anymore. I don't want that, because I hate it when I'm angry. But instead say, okay, anger, what is it that you want to tell me? Why are you coming to the surface right now? Because maybe anger is there because you need to stand up for yourself. You need to, make a choice to say no to something that you really don't want to do, or you need to make sure that if someone is angry towards you, that you can keep it at a distance. Or maybe you want to be heard in a conversation, so you get angry, you start to shout, because then people hear you. Then you need to teach anger that you heard the message, but the execution can change. And if you can talk to that part inside of you, and that's what we're going to learn you during our event, if you can talk to that part inside of you, that you hear the message, but that you can teach a new behavior to fulfill whatever it's trying to create for you, well, then you don't have to be angry anymore all the time. Because anger then knows, okay, I can also do it this way. I can also choose to just say no in a calm manner. Or I can also choose to not listen to that person. Or I can choose to go and do my own thing. And if that's still fulfilling that choosing for yourself that anger wants to achieve for you, without you having to become angry, then anger is satisfied. And anger doesn't need to come to the surface so often anymore. But it's one thing to talk about that and to explain that, which is, of course, valuable in itself. But it's a whole other thing to learn how to do that. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Because rationally, you can say, well, I should just stop being angry then. Yeah, it could be. But anger also gives you something. Because sometimes it's good to be angry, because you need to stand up for yourself, or you need to stop someone who wants to hurt you or whatever. It's very valuable to be angry at those times. So you don't want to get rid of anger. And you also don't want to try to get rid of anger by thinking, I shouldn't be angry anymore. Because that's not going to work. Where you want to create the change is in that level of your mind where your feelings are stored, which is the subconscious. So every experience that you've had, every conviction that you have, every pattern that you have, that's all stored in the subconscious mind, which defines 95% of what we do. And the rational thinking and the rationalizations of why you shouldn't be angry, that's your conscious mind. That's only 5% of what we do. So if you want to create a change in the 95% of your brain, you need to learn how to talk to that part of your brain. And it's not by thinking other thoughts, because that's your conscious mind. And what we are going to address in the event is, how do you communicate to that other part of the brain? And how do you teach anger something else to, still be hurt as the part anger inside of you, but, that it creates a choice. If it has to come to the surface now, or it can chill out because you got this as a person.
Yeah, it's amazing how this dynamic worked. And I was like, when I first got these lessons from in NLP, I thought I was the crazy one that had these personalities. And we were talking about it with one of the teachers there, Yolanda. And I was saying to her, like, yeah, you know what? I'm a bit crazy person. And she's like, why? I'm like, I have these multiple personality. I didn't know about this subject.
And we're gonna discuss it already.
Yeah. And I was like, I had these personalities, and they have these 3 names and stuff, and the 3 main how do you say main characters.
Main characters, yeah.
Yeah, and they have their own name, they have their own characters, and they act in a certain way. It's like, and she's like, did you watch the Reader? And but did you like skip ahead?
Flip ahead,
I'm like, no, what's up? And she's like, yeah, we're gonna take a lesson of that. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, discuss exactly that. That's the last part of the NLP practitioner where we teach it. Yeah,
and it's so amazing how these characters work with each other and also contradict each other. And like when you say, instead of feeling that anger in that certain situation, you have built a high road to anger, and instead of building let's say a dirt road to looking at it on other perspective.
Yeah.
And you always take that high road because you're used to it, right?
Yeah,
it served you in the past.
Yeah.
But now you have to, as a child, maybe the anger helped you, but now as a parent, you have to be more formal. You have to be more like, let's say, be more conscious about what you do, right?
Yeah.
So you have to make that dirt road a main road as well.
Yeah, exactly.
That type of stuff.
Yeah.
And also with emotions, and also controlling emotions, that is exactly what certain characters are like rebelling or saying something when certain things happen in your life, or you experience certain blockades when you're talking to someone, or you're hurt from your past relationship, so that's why you don't want to go into another relationship anymore, and you don't know what's blocking you. We at least in this particular workshop that we are giving, you can particularly communicate with that characters why they are blocking you and what they need to me more to let the feelings more be present.
Exactly, because what we do now mostly with feelings that we don't want, that part of you that wants to come to the surface, but you don't want it there because I don't want to cry. Yeah. You know, I get upset, but I don't want to cry because then I show weakness or whatever. So what we do, we repress the sadness, we repress the hurt. But if you look at it like a ball that you're pressing underwater, the pressure will gain more and more and more if you press it down deeper. And if you don't watch out, it will come to the surface because you cannot control it anymore. The ball slips, shoots to the surface, and maybe even in your face, because you have tried to push it away for so long that part of you says, all right, that's enough. Now I'm coming to the surface. Whether you want it or not, I'm going to make myself be present here, and I'm going to make you feel me. So I'm going to make you feel the pain very much right now because you don't give me any attention. You didn't, nourish the pain, or you didn't, accept the pain. You're going to repress it. So now I will come to the surface and you don't get a choice anymore. Yeah. And to get ahead of that happening, that's the value of learning with your subconscious mind. Yeah. You can have that discussion with that part of you without it having to, push back so hard or knock on that door so loudly or shoot to the surface so quickly, because you understand it. And then you can look at that ball floating on the water and you can just see it, accept it, and then let it float away again. Yeah. Without it having to push against you to be known the whole time. Yeah.
It's so amazing how as I said, how these characters interact, and also when they feel unheard or whatever, they can become like this real big force inside of you, right? Yeah. And they rebel against everything else. Like it's like someone who is really angry takes over the controls, and he's like controlling it, and everybody cannot interact with this guy because he's so angry or unheard. It's exactly. Like so. It's amazing how that works, right?
And then we get caught in that anger, but that's just because the moment has happened, that anger shut up from the pressure of being pushed away all the time. Yeah, it's like, all right, now I'm taking the controls, And it's funny how they show that in that Pixar movie.
with the anger part, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna show you this, and then push a button, and it's
so funny, but there's a very nice message, and also for kids, it's a beautiful way. I really loved how they did that movie. It's a beautiful way to show kids as well, like that's what's happening inside of you in a very playful way, very recognizable for adults and kids as well. And I really have that movie in high regard, let's say. But my oldest is old enough to understand the movie a little bit better, I'm definitely showing it to him because it's it's wonderful.
Amazing how they make this. And there's also the second one is coming. I thought.
Oh, is it?
I heard the second one is already in the makings.
Oh, cool! I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Oh, that's nice. We're
gonna watch it together.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah.
Oh, man. And what was I had a question, but I was going so fast.
Yeah.
When you experience this certain, let's say, the anger part inside of us, when you lash out to somebody, and after a while you'll be like, why did I act that way, or why did I say that to that person? It was not logical that I acted in this way.
Yeah.
And that is actually that personality who's taking over, who doesn't feel unheard at that moment, right? Like when you lash out to somebody, and after a while you're like, oh, why did I say that to that person?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like that is actually some let's say not correlated process that's happening in that person, on that characters, right?
Yeah. It could be that a specific subpersonality of you has an issue that it needs to get resolved before it can, before it feels seen and heard, before it can step aside for a bit sometimes. And before you recognize that part of you, before you maybe even forgive what it's doing right now, and that you acknowledge that it's there, that's only when you get to that point, that's the point where that personality inside of you feels comfortable enough to step aside once in a while. Because if as a kid you learn that, okay, if I shout and if I scream and if I make a whole big scene, I have a tantrum, it's the phase that my oldest son is in right now. He's 3 years old now, just became 3 this week. He sometimes has a tantrum. And if we would give in to like, okay, if you give a tantrum, you will get what you want because we don't want to deal with your tantrum. Yeah. What that does, it installs the belief that if I shout and scream, I get what I want. So the subconscious learns from that. If he gets that installed in his brain, that belief that if I scream and shout, I get what I want, what do you think is going to happen during his life? Yeah. He's going to repeat that strategy because it has worked for him here. Yeah. Instead, what we're trying to do right now is teach him another strategy that, first of all, you're not getting what you want if you act like that. And secondly, if you act in a different manner, then you get what you want. So that works much better for you. So if you ask nicely, or if you, be respectful, you get everything that you want. You can get everything. And if he learns that, so I can be assertive, but still respectful, because I don't want him to, be too naive, or too like, I should have respect for everyone, because also you should respect yourself. But you can still have respect for yourself and be respectful to others as well. Yeah. And we're trying to teach him that lesson now. And if he learns that, it's gonna bring him much further in life. We believe, at least in our parenting strategy, of course. But instead of learning him now that, okay, if you throw a tantrum, we will give you the toy because you'll stop. That's gonna happen then throughout his whole life. He's gonna keep on throwing tantrums, and that's when if you're an adult, you're in a meeting, and someone wants to bring in an idea, and we don't want to follow your idea. So what do then? They start to shout in the meeting as an adult, and everyone's like, "What the heck is that person doing?" But that's because they learned it as a kid. That works. If you want to give a new lesson now to that adult, of course it's not too late. Luckily, because it's not like you learned it as a kid, so done. Finished. No, you can still teach that part a new lesson, but you need to communicate to the subconscious part and not think like, as you say, well, I shouldn't have done that. It's then already too late. You want to get ahead of that. And the way to do that is to learn how to talk to that part in your subconscious mind. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm very excited to do that. I've done it a lot of times during the NLP courses, of course. And it's always one eye-opening moment for people who do it. So I'm happy that we get to do it again.
I'm so excited, man. What else? It's what did you experience with that? I also want to touch the subject on familieopstellingen, like family structure. I think. Like I heard lots of stories from couple of stories from you that you had your experiences, and I'm like, I resonated pretty much what you said, because you did it once with the group, I thought,
Yeah.
and I resonated with that one because
Yeah.
I did also my family structures. It's like, let's maybe explain what family structure is.
Yeah, so a family structure, I'm going to actually follow a course on that as well this year. So I'm very excited to also be able to coach people with it. But
with that guy who downstairs, that
yeah, Wilbert.
yeah, Wilbert.
Rutten.
Yeah.
Very wonderful guy. He has 25 years of experience in this.
Ooh.
So he would be a much better person to have in this chair to talk about this. But from my experience, what I learned is that it's all to do with energy. So it's all to do with the system of your family that's around you. And in that system, you have a part to play. You have a role. If I'm a son, but I'm also a father.
Yeah.
So in my own family, you can look at that as a system, like my mom, my dad, my stepdad, my stepmom, my half brother and half sister, which I have, my sister with her family, my own family. And you can see, okay, where's my role in that?
Yeah.
Consciously, we don't always recognize this because we just go through our lives and we don't, stop to think about that. And if it's also okay to have that role. Sometimes we take a role because we feel that we should do something, but it's not in line with what we should do. Because, I'm a son, and I can try to help my mom if she has a difficult time, but I'm also still the son. So that's not my role.
Yeah.
My role is to be her son, and her role is to be my mom. If you get a disturbance in that and say that you're stepping into a role of taking care of your parents, of course, when they're older and they have to have some physical care or whatever, or mentally they're declining and they have to have care, that's different. Yeah. But if they are, still healthy enough and a healthy body and still sane of mind, you shouldn't have to take care of them as the son. But if we feel a weakness in a parent, or one parent falls away because your parents split up or whatever, sometimes we do take that role. We do take the role of the caregiver of the parent. And that can give a very different relationship. And what happens then is that maybe you are going to create some distance all of a sudden because you don't feel comfortable in that relationship with your parent anymore. And systemic coaching and family structure, that's some way where you can get insights in that. And what's the role I'm taking right now? Yeah. And is that healthy for me? And what if I see the person in a different way, or I move closer or further from them? Is that going to be better for me? And it's very difficult to explain what happens during such a family structure thing, but you have to experience it. Yeah. So you have to experience the feeling that you get when somebody that you don't know, who is then representing your mom or dad or whoever, makes a certain step towards or from you. What that does to your body, to your feeling, to your energy. It's so weird to experience that, and you can't really put words to it. And you're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Someone is approaching me and I feel sadness, or I feel just happy that they see me, that they acknowledge me. Well, it's a stranger or a person you know from something else, but it's not your real family member. And all of a sudden they approach you representing that family member. You're like, wait, why am I feeling sad now all of a sudden? But it can give a beautiful insight in how you see yourself in a relationship and what you need to fix there.
It's crazy how you can stand in the energy of someone else's family, right? Yeah. Like what you do is mostly you sit in a kind of a circle, and then you bring up some certain situation, or don't even have to. You come in a circle and you pick certain people that you feel like drawn to. Like you pick your father or your mother. This one is representing my father. This one is representing, and that person is just staying in that circle or in that group, and he or she can exactly know or stand in the energy of that person in your family and act in that way.
It's so bizarre. Yeah, so
crazy.
Bizarre. Yeah.
Like also, they can talk, and you can also help yourself realize certain things that is also happening in your own family and in your own life. Like I had this experience with certain other people who realized from family structure that they were like they had an unborn, how do you call it, twin, yeah. Like that is how they realized, like I feel like I miss somebody, they always say. And then all of a sudden their parents were behind her or whatever, and then she realized, like, from that structure. It's like difficult to explain. It
is, because if you don't experience it, it's very hard to explain what happens. So I almost just want to say to your audience, just try and find somewhere you can do this. You know, just have that experience. Because my own experience with this was a very personal example, is that we were doing a setup for something else. It was business-wise, actually, that we wanted to see, is the system in our business working? Is everyone in the role they should be? Or should we, put more attention to something else, to the strategy or whatever? We started that, and all of a sudden it turned into my personal issue, my personal thing. And I was like, wait, I thought we were going to talk about the business. So what's going on here? And I saw someone that I know from, other stuff. She's also a coach, and she has been one of my co-classmates when I was doing the NLP trainer course. And she was just also in that circle because she represented the client or whatever. I don't even remember. And all of a sudden, she looks at me and she smiles. And I feel shame, sadness. I felt that I had to say sorry to her for something. I didn't realize that it was turning towards my own personal issue. I still didn't realize consciously. But subconsciously, my feeling said, you need to apologize to that woman. And I didn't know why. And what's good about Wilbert, the coach, he saw that something was happening with me. So he approached me and just asked, what's going on? Is there something you want to say? And I was like, how does he know this? But he's good. I mean, I have a lot of respect for the man. And I said, well, I don't know why, but I have the feeling I should say sorry to her. And he said, well, do it. And he says, turn your body towards her. And I turned, and already it feels like, oh, this is heavy, what's happening? And I looked at her and said, well, I'm sorry. And I didn't know why, but I just said it, and it felt like a relief, but I also felt this enormous sadness come over me. And she said, well, to the coach, like, I have the feeling that I should approach Danny now and hug him. Is that okay? And he said, well, yeah, if you feel that you need to do that, then do it. So she hugged me, and the sadness got even more, and I cried, which I rarely do. And it just happened, it just poured out of me, and I felt this sadness, but also a kind of acceptance in a way, that I was feeling like it's good that I finally told her I'm sorry. And only then it clicked that it was not about the business anymore. It was really about me, and that it was about my sister who died when I was 2. And that I felt the need to tell her I'm sorry for something. True. And now I afterwards, of course, you start thinking about that. And I was like, what happened there? And now I know why I was sorry for, and it was basically for, taking the role upon me to think, okay, her death made my parents sad, so I need to make him happy. Mm-hmm. And I always had the feeling that I failed in that, and I wanted to tell her sorry for that failure. Yeah. And still, that was somewhere deep inside me, which I thought, no, I don't feel that anymore. That's fine. That part I resolved. But apparently I didn't. Yeah. So that was very, beautiful that happened, actually. But it also, again, showed me that there's more than we, do with our conscious thinking. And there's more than what we realize sometimes.
It's like there's this whole pain that you like put down because you thought, okay, I need to man up or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it comes back, and then you finally have the ability to say goodbye, or like to give it a place, right?
Yeah, exactly.
In your body.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an amazing way how it works, right?
Yeah. And it's all on this level that you cannot consciously explain. It's just a feeling, just an energy that happens when you all stand in that field.
Yeah.
You know, that energy field, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So again, it's very difficult to explain what happens, but well, maybe that example helped a little bit. But it's almost magical, I would say.
Literally. And nobody using anything, any substance or whatever, right?
No.
Like,
no.
literally, nobody is even using nothing.
No.
Like, you would think, oh yeah, they're all tripping balls or whatever.
No, nothing.
Nobody is using anything.
No, nothing.
Like,
and I'm usually pretty... I know I have discovered what the power is of your emotion, your feeling. In general, I'm still, if I look at how I approach things, it's still quite rational often. While I use my feeling to motivate me and to push me in a certain direction. But there I found once again what the power is of not only rationalizing and just feel and just see what happens then.
Yeah.
It's magical.
Amazing how it works.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's also like, I also wanna follow courses because I know some woman that also is very good at that. That's familial structure. So you're following that course, right? Like for 3 days.
No, I'm going to do the 17-day one.
17
We
day.
have at Response in Roermond, where we did our studies as well. There's now we have a 3-day course where you can check, is it something for me? What do I think about it? How does it feel? You can do 3 days of systemic coaching and you can experience it. If you want to, learn more of the techniques which you can use and a lot of beautiful things you can add to your techniques like breath work and things like that. There's also a 17-day course. That one is starting in October and that's the one I'm going to do. So
October.
Yeah, that's a full study basically. So
sounds interesting, man.
Yeah, it does. Hope to see you there, man.
Oh man, yeah, because I really this is really something I think people can use, and also in your coachings as well, right? It is one of a extremely let's say extremely powerful tool.
Yeah.
To how do you say, find structural how do you say it, problems or like errors, flaws. Yeah, it's like really a powerful tool to detect those flaws.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I realized, and it's blissed me so much that I don't know how I did it 4 or 5 times, and it's every time I got something new, right?
Yeah,
every time.
Yeah,
it's not like not once I didn't experience something special about it.
Yeah, no, indeed, and I've just experienced only 2 times, and I'm already like, okay, I need to learn much more about this because this is so bizarre, but also so powerful and beautiful to experience.
Yeah.
And since it's been my life goal to, I have defined it as to activate the primal power in people. This is a very powerful way to do that as well, next to NLP and hypnosis, which I use as well. But yeah, this is another beautiful tool to add to that toolbox.
Awesome. Now, I think we are also getting close to about an hour.
Already? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have anything else to share, like for the young audience watching?
Well, anything to share? I think we discussed a lot already anyway, but what I really want to push on people more is that all those thoughts you have, all those feelings, all those doubts that say, oh, maybe I shouldn't, or you have fears, all of those things are just your mind playing tricks on you to keep you in the comfort zone, to make you feel safe. And safety is not something bad, but if you have that other, and call it a subpersonality or some part of inside of you that wants more, that sometimes very carefully tries to show you something that maybe there's something more that we could do, try and start to listen to that part as well and do stuff that you're afraid of. If you want to develop, you have to do stuff you're afraid of. Otherwise, there's no development. There's nothing that's going to make you grow if you don't do something that scares you. So you have to do something that scares you.
Yeah.
And you can, put a lot of reasons forward, and your mind will do that for you. It will help you to stay in that comfort zone, to stay safe. All of these reasons that come to the surface, that's all stories you tell yourself because of your limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
If you can experience what the other side is even once, that's the first stone you need to take over to start the process, and to start the process of seeing what else is out there and how you can grow. And the only way to do that is to do something you're afraid of.
Exactly.
So,
and for especially for male audience, right? Like
Definitely.
we I think in male as a masculine, let's say being, you are programmed to chase something, kind of like building something, right?
But also to protect something.
Yeah, also, yeah.
Protect your family or protect yourself or whatever. And I have found that protection sometimes also correlates for people towards safety.
Yeah.
But, there is no such thing as safety. Safety is an illusion that we create for ourselves to rationalize why we shouldn't do anything new, because this is safe. That's a load of bullshit. I don't know if I can swear in this podcast, but that's a load of bullshit. Because safety is an illusion. You don't, if I work at a company and I have a contract that is for unlimited time, and I have a paycheck that is steady, and I think that's going to carry me until my pension, that could happen. But if you think that's a guarantee and that's 100% safe way, that's bullshit. Because anything can happen at any time. The company can go under. You can have an injury why you can not work anymore. Anything can happen in life. And while you're waiting for that to go wrong, that's the time you could have spent on developing yourself to get ahead of it, and to find your purpose, and to do stuff that gives you energy, gives you freedom, gives you passion, gives you everything that you can create on your own, instead of depending on the company or other people to give it to you. If you take back that ownership of your life, it puts you in a much more powerful position. Even if you then come into uncertain times and, not being sure if it's going to work out fine.
Yeah.
We don't know that of the event, for example, but we do know that what we're doing is something we believe in.
Yeah.
If it works out, beautiful. If it doesn't work out, we're not going to quit. We're going to tweak it. We're going back to the table and see what didn't work. Yeah. And we're going to continue. Because the only way to lose is to quit. That's the only way. Because, I always think of that example, and I heard it on a podcast once, or no, an audiobook actually, about Colonel Sanders of KFC.
Oh, yeah.
That
Crazy.
I mean, whatever you think about fast food, that's beside the point, because that guy received 1,009 no's, I believe, to sell his chicken recipe to a restaurant. 1,009 people turned him down. He still kept on going, and now everybody knows KFC.
Yeah,
and he started when he was 65. So also for the people who think, but I'm too old to start, that's also bullshit, because he started when he was 65 with that. So the formula is keep going. Maybe tweak your approach a bit, but if you believe in the thing that you want to deliver, keep going. That's also the only formula you can succeed, and we learn it from our kids. Because kids, they start to try and walk, they fall down. They try that, I don't know how many times still, 80 times, they keep on falling down. There's not one kid that says, I know, maybe I should quit trying. Maybe, assuming they're healthy, maybe I should quit trying, because that walking thing that I see everybody do, that's nothing. That's not for me. And there's also no parent that says that. Every parent says to their kid, come on, you can do it. Keep going. Just try again. But when we come to ourselves as parents, and we try something new, and we fail at that, how many times do we give ourselves? 3, 5 times,
Max.
maybe?
Yeah.
And it's a lot sometimes. To say, well, it's not working out for me.
Yeah.
I shouldn't do it anymore.
Literally.
But our kids would teach something else. So why do we do that to ourselves then?
Yes.
Because if we would have kept on going, there will be a point that you will succeed. But yeah, most of us never experienced that because we quit after 3 to 5 times.
Yeah, that's actually a weird program that's like trying to protect us in a way, but also limit us very, very lots of times.
Yeah, from that feeling of safety again.
Awesome. No, that's nice explanation. And also, I always have those 2 questions, but this one I think resonates with you the most. What would you give your younger self advice if you had the ability to go back in time and to give your younger self advice?
Yeah.
What would that one advice be? Let's say he was 20 or 15 or whatever, somewhere in that range.
Yeah. What I would tell if I was 20, I would say invest in Bitcoin because then it was... No, that's kidding.
Life
that's kidding. No.
Life lessons.
Life lesson, I would say do it for you. Do it for you. And not for everyone around you and not to make other people happy. Make yourself happy first. And find what it is that does that without, trying to rely on other people to tell you what that is. Yeah. Because sometimes other people with their right intentions tell you that you should do something in a certain way because that's either what's safe for them or what has worked for them. But it doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. Yeah. So do what makes you happy. Do it for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's also a lot of people that needs to let that one thing sink in, right?
Yeah.
That do it for you, not for other one.
Yeah.
Because as young adults, you're seeking validation a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. From the outside world, what will people think of when I say this and this? Yeah. I could have walked in here today on this podcast and be very careful with my answers and maybe say, okay, but what will people think of us if we say those things? Yeah. But if there are people who resonates this with, then those people, I'm very happy that we have reached them and that we have spoken to them today because they have gotten something out of this. Yeah. For people who say, well, those 2 guys don't know what they're talking about, also fine, but they shouldn't listen to us then. Yeah. That's good. And that's fine. It's not like the world will stop spinning. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it's the better to be authentic than to be a copy. Or what was that saying? Yeah, I don't remember.
I know, but fake, I guess.
Yeah,
that's what I would
like
say.
That,
yeah.
No, awesome. Now, I want to thank you for coming. It was an honor. Finally, that we had a chat.
Yeah, it was very nice. Had a lot of fun.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Oh, and I'm very looking forward to the event, and I think it will come and next after that. There will be lots of great things coming after that.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you also guys for watching this video. If you like this video, please drop a like. If you have everything to share, please let us know in the comments below. And see you all guys in the next video. Peace.